Welcome back to Get With The Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
Hey, man.
What's up, dude?
Happy belated birthday.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And my present was, well, I mean, I had a good weekend and everything, but trying to stick the semifinals and you making shit up on the fly and putting things together for people.
That was your present?
I was like, dang, dude, that's cool. All right. All kinds of that and all the other podcasts that were going on. There was like, so I could dive in. It was really hard when you're hanging out with the weekend with your daughter, who's 7, gonna be 8 tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, wow.
My oldest was right? So I'm gonna have a 22 and an 8-year-old tomorrow. Awesome. And then her best friend that's 8. So those 2 girls. Have you ever heard of the Great Wolf Lodge? Talking about space wolves. The Great Wolf Lodge.
Space wolves. No.
Space wolves. So it's this giant hotel that has like a indoor water park attached to it.
Okay.
Like water slides, wave pool, the whole deal.
Okay. Yeah, we got one of those.
So yeah, I was thinking about it because it's like Dallas has all those natatoriums.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's used to being inside. Well, I'm not used to being inside. So I'm inside this thing and it's like mega humid. My eyeballs are burning from all the chlorine. There's a gazillion kids in this place and a bunch of wacko parents. And they do the entire thing for kids. So there's like kid dance club at 9:00 at night where they're all rocking out on the dance floor. There's kid yoga that's going on. There's all of these things. Build-A-Bear, which is actually a wolf because it's Build-A-Bear, but it's at the wolf place. And I kind of felt like I was at a weird Wally World because it was like not Disneyland, but it was this other character that you like is all over everywhere. But anyway, it was really cool. But it was very active with all of that stuff. And then I could like every once in a while kind of beep in and see what was going on either on the cast, the broadcasting or the podcasting or the text thread that we're on or whatever. So I could kind of keep one foot in the loop there, which was kind of fun.
That's awesome, man.
But dude, what a crazy weekend.
What a crazy weekend.
Holy shit.
Dude.
Kind of like, and it felt good and bad all at the same time. Like, and I don't mean bad, like in a shitty way, but like it felt there were that feeling of like the old school regionals, which was nice. And maybe it's just because it's finally something's live and it felt like, like the old days for whatever reason. I mean, whatever. But then there's all kinds of crazy shit that happens also. Yeah. It was nuts.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. You did a great job, I have to say. Yeah, on both parts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a wild one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I got to meet Bruce Wayne in person.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that was cool. I saw photos of our favorite 25-foot legless rope climb aficionado draw your dagger. I saw some of his photos. He was actually out there. I don't think he or she. I don't know who you are. I got to see a lot of cool people. Stefan was. What do you want? Bill, the CK guy.
Oh, that guy. Okay, I really wish he would have given a better interview.
I know you don't want to give away the secret hair product. Oh, it's just like some hair paste fiber. I think it's called
American Crew Fiber.
Yeah, American Crew Fiber. You have the same kind, don't you?
Yeah, totally.
Do you have the blue or do you have like the tan? Which one do you?
No, mine's the blue one because the tan one is that's like the pomade one.
Yeah, I don't like the pomade one.
Yeah, I need stickier shit.
The white fibery thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we use the same hair product too.
Yeah, totally.
We use the same. God bless. Unintentional.
It's great minds. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but it was great. Trish, you weren't supposed to talk about that.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, you're not supposed to talk about that. Ron's watching. Oh, thanks, Bruce. Yeah. Okay. So it was a wild weekend. I was super, super thankful that CrossFit empowered the Games podcast to do some type of covering of the first test for the individuals, or I guess the first and third one, and the third one for the teams. 2 was on Friday, 1 was on Saturday morning. It was great. It took a lot of help. So shout out to Wex Appeal, Steven.
Dude, all those guys running around with their they had cameras or iPhones?
No, bro. We shot that whole thing on iPhones.
Fuck yeah.
On a cellular network because we could not connect to the Wi-Fi.
Hell yeah.
So when the best thing is like, it was like, what shitty cell phone is this video on? I was like, actually, no, you're right. It is a phone. Yeah.
Quit your bitching. You could have nothing.
Yeah.
You could have highlights. How about that? You want some highlights?
Yeah.
Go get some highlights.
True. But yeah, so shout out to HQ for letting us do that, to Brian Friend, Mike Halpin, Steven Wexler, Adrian Conaway for just freaking, dude, no questions asked, step up to the plate. What do you need? And we just pulled this out of our ass.
And I mean, I know everyone was really happy about that. I can only imagine what the discussions were of it coming up, or like who brought that to the floor? Was that you guys going like, hey, we can put something together, let us do it? Or was it them saying, hey, put something together, see what you can do? Oh, very cool.
Thanks, Stefan. Yeah.
Very cool, dude.
I was like, oh, we should have a tip jar for the Games podcast, but I don't know if that's set up. Okay, was the question who?
Who brought that to the floor? Who brought that to the table?
It was the Haynes and Emily, the publishing team on the media side, brought it up and asked if it was possible. And I said, of course it is. And then I proceeded to figure out if it was actually possible.
But that's the right answer. Can you do this? Absolutely.
Absolutely, I can.
Do you know what you're going to do? Not quite yet.
Not at all. Not at all. Yes, if you guys want to hear more of that story, Wex Appeal is, he had Adrian and I on earlier this morning. We talked more details. But yeah, so that was Wednesday. And then Thursday, we spent the whole day going back and forth on what we can do, what it would look like. You know, I'm scrambling to find anything I can use, like podcast wise. Fortunately, Wex was there with his whole setup. So that was so much easier.
And was that you bouncing from camera to camera?
Yeah.
Because I'm watching, it was interesting because I know how we are.
Right.
Like when we're talking and we have our own actions and movements and activities that are going on that people don't normally see. Mm-hmm. But because I could see on the side, you could see all the different camera views. It just depended which one you were going to pull up to the main screen. So it was interesting watching you trying to be play-by-play in this particular case and also directing at the same time. So I didn't know where everyone else was. I didn't know if they were all just handheld or if you had someone else actually hitting the other camera views for you. Nice job, dude. Very good work.
Yeah, well, and so yeah, this is.
Good thing you know this. Good thing you know this program,
right?
This platform for sure.
Yeah. And there was a lot of ideas kicked around, and it wasn't until I think we sat down finally at 8 p.m. Thursday night to figure out what we're gonna do Friday morning.
I love it.
And even then, it was a maybe, a huge maybe. So. Shout out to everybody that came out to watch. We appreciate you guys being reserved with your expectations on what that was going to look like. I think, like you said, anything better than 0 is a great thing. And but I was super stressed out, man, because I knew how much people wanted to see something. So I just wanted to be sure we did the best. What we had to work with, I don't think people can truly grasp,
dude,
how we pulled that up.
Let me just tell you, all the years of Wadapalooza that we have done, the most with the minimum, gave you all the skills needed to do way more than what anyone else had any idea what they were going to. Like, you could have been fine. Thank you very much, Renata. That's awesome. You could have done just fine. If you would have only had one camera, you would have, because we've done that.
We've done harder things. I will say that. We will
So
say
it's
that.
like, hey, you got 3-4 cameras? Oh, dude, you can do so much stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, no problem. They probably were freaking out way more than you were, I think.
Yeah. And honestly, like this whole idea and the concept of what is possible through a podcast and camera phones and everything, I'll say straight up came from Zealous Games.
Yeah.
100%. After watching what Savan and that crew did at Zealous Games, I was like, okay, I've seen the template. I know the format. Why recreate something more that needs to be recreated? And so like, shout out to Savan and their team.
Yeah.
And the coverage they've done on the side from Wadapalooza over the years, what they did for the Zealous Games and that head-to-head matchup thing is like, we're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. We don't want to get this more complicated than it needs to be. And that's really where we tried to put our foot down and really tried to step up and do the best we could with what we had. So thank you guys for all the compliments.
Awesome.
I really do appreciate that. Yeah, it was, I probably took a year off my life of stress. Like I did not sleep the night before because I felt like the implications of doing this, like there's like a fine line of either doing a bad job and everybody knows it's going to be a bad job, so they accept the bad job. There's the fine line of trying to be too much that you already are. And what this was, like, this was not a broadcast. This was a podcast with video.
100%.
Right? And we try to bill it like that. And
I think it felt like that. And that's why I don't think anyone really would have had that big of an issue with it, like the fans watching, because of that. Like even the demeanor that you guys,
Zealous
the vocabulary that you guys talked in, that's true. The vocabulary that you guys used, the tempo that you guys talked, how you talk, the direction of conversation that you guys had was way more podcasty than it was broadcasty.
Yeah, which is great. Like,
and that's okay.
Lay back and kick it, you know.
Totally. So that's why I think, even though, I mean, I can appreciate the stress. I think that literally it came off like, all right, cool. Let's just we're just kicking back watching.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it was professional as far as like you guys know the roles to do it, but you guys were able to be way more at ease with it, which is cool.
Oh, thanks for that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Appreciate it. Menopause and Metcons.
Go back and watch it, you guys, because it was good.
It was fun. It was fun. I had a great time. It was super special. Like the coolest part, and this is not something we usually get to do, is like you could interact with people watching the show just like we're doing now on a podcast.
Yeah.
That we can't do on a broadcast.
Yeah.
And
well, the access you had to the people, the access you had to the athletes right there.
That was cool too.
Like you guys were basically right in the middle of everything, and it was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we can say, well, here's the thing. We can say event on this podcast.
I will say event.
I will also say event on this podcast. But there are certain expectations in other places of which I, have to follow the rules. However, on my own podcast,
I can say what the hell I want.
Let's talk about some events. Okay. Let's get into this. So this podcast today, we're going to look back at the events. Thank you, Barry. The CK interview was the best.
The shortest for sure.
It was the shortest.
Supporting people.
I'll tell a little story.
Okay, good talk.
With all going on is like I have an eye on the comments, and at a corner of my eye, I just hear I just see CK guy, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And like this, that, man. I keep seeing like Calvin Klein, these guys, and I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, interview CK guy behind you. And I was like, and I look around and there's this dude behind me wearing a Calvin Klein shirt. I was like, oh, CK. I was like, we're on a podcast. I've got a mic. It can reach. This dude is turning into a natural phenomenon right now, or a social media phenomenon. And thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support, team. Thanks for all the little tips here. So I went over and interviewed him, and the first question that I asked him, because I was just ribbon on him. You know, I was like, oh, is this their new athletic line? And he had no idea what I was talking about.
No, he didn't.
I legit was like, I should have never come over here and asked you a question.
Well, you went over that. Dude, you had so much in. You're like, hey, how's it going? Hey, what's up? I'm just here to support
I'm just
people.
here. I don't know anybody. And I was like, I am so sorry I came over.
Oh,
It was a huge mistake. And I try to like cool dance my way out of it the best I could.
Oh, I saw the moonwalk, dude. I saw the moonwalk for sure.
Just like goes into the bushes and tries to disappear. But yeah. And then the freaking guy shows up the next day in a Michael Kors shirt. And so I was like, oh, this dude, like a vibe check.
Yeah.
It's like, this dude's totally playing into it. He became Insta famous on a YouTube channel, podcast, whatever. And then he shows up with a Michael Kors shirt. Like, I like this guy. And then I asked him, I was like, hey, what's your Instagram handle? Because surely you saw it on Instagram. It's like, oh, I'll wear a Michael Kors shirt tomorrow. It'll be funny. It's like, I don't have one. Twitter? No. Social media in general? No. I was like, oh. Every time I talk to you, I immediately regret coming over here. I was like, but somehow, okay, you don't know anybody here. You just started CrossFit. You don't have any CrossFit gear on your body. And somehow you are in the perfect spot every time you're watching from the sideline. Later in the day, he was watching test 4 and test 5, or event 4 and 5, excuse me.
Thank you.
Event 4 and 5. I
was like, was it homework there? I didn't see any homework.
He was in the perfect spot, right on the assault runners, just from the side. I'm like, for how little you say you know a lot about where to be at all times.
Yeah, he's a spy for somebody.
Something.
He's a spy.
Something's going on. But yeah, that was good. Thanks, man. That was great. We'll see if that continues or gets replicated. We'll see. Okay. Back to what we're here. So we're going to recap the new details from the programming that we didn't have going in. We've already did a first look at the teams. We did a first look at the individuals. We had lots of questions and we had lots of things to talk about in related to small details that were not released in the programming. And how those, once they've been solidified, have an impact on the events themselves. That's what we're going to go through. We're not going to analyze the programming yet. We're going to look at these new details and really kind of take a look at how that's going to affect the event overall and those that are taking it on this weekend. Thanks, Eaton. I won't say your last name. And what that changes. So that's basically what we're doing today. All right. Let's look at the team event number 1. So this is the same what has been written. Every person at a station, 2K echo bike or 2.5 for the men, 800 meter assault runner, 150 double unders, 10 worm clean and jerks, 150 double unders, bear hug, sandbag hold. When everybody's done, you go do 10 worm clean and jerks. Every time you go back, everybody rotates through. The question was, what is the
bag connected to?
And I believe you guessed that the bag was connected to the double unders.
Yeah.
And that was right, but the bag and the double unders you do twice.
Yeah.
So think of it like this. Everybody starts at a station. Station 1, and I'll try to make this clear. Station 1, echo bike. Station 2, assault bike. Station 3, bear hug hold. Station 4, double unders. So you're either a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to start the event. At the end, when you're all done, the 150 double under person can only do double unders while the person is holding the bag. If the bag drops, they have to stop. Once they complete 150, they switch. So now the person who was doing double unders, which is station 4, moved to station 3 to hold the bag for the person that was in station 3 to do double unders. So both had to complete 150 double unders. So you're going to do 2 rounds of double unders and bag hold carries versus 1 touch on the runner and the bike.
Which, if you think about the amount of time for each one of those, that's about right.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even think of doubling. I didn't even think of like locking them together like that to where you have to do each one of those pieces twice.
Yeah.
That was a trip.
And so what happened is when you're done with round 1 and you come back for round 2, everybody moves up a station. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 4, 4 goes to 1. And whoever did double unders first, so if you're in station 4, you got the shaft holding the bag.
Right.
Two, 1 being a pun on point, but you got left holding the bag for those last 10 clean and jerks. And if you were the last person holding that bag, brother, it was nasty.
Dude, it was devastating.
Nasty.
It just crushed people. And like, it was weird because this is one of the things that I think is interesting is, we talked about why aren't they letting all this information out earlier so that these athletes can know it? Because I guarantee you the next 2 weekends, the teams will be way better.
Oh yeah.
Because that is a massive strategic play that you have to know how to a wrinkle that you got to be able to deal with. These guys didn't get that. So they had to kind of figure out on the fly what was going to be the best call. And I really wish they wouldn't have done that. Like, why make it secret for one third of the group?
Yeah.
So,
but that detail changes. I mean, it drastically changes the
yeah.
Having it twice, only like we thought, oh, you're gonna get a break. Like, no break. And the way it moves, so like I said, stations 1, 2, 3, 4 is what you see: bike, runner, bag, double under. So if you finish on station 4, you're going to do double unders first and then hold the bag last. So essentially, if how am I phrasing this? But whoever held the bag last did all the work and did the worst thing at the end. The way you put those people in order is really important, because what Proven did is they put Nistler, who would hold the bag last. They could have put Nistler or Taylor.
Yeah.
Because they did a 20+ minute bear hug hold like competition for Rogue the last 2 years. 20 plus. 20 minutes plus. So yeah.
They can hold the bag. They can hold the bag. Yeah.
Some did not pick the right order. They did not know how it was going to flow, and it just broke these athletes off. But
and I wonder if they even knew. I mean, it's nice when you have Nistler in the bag. You have Nistler in your pack to do that. So you don't even. All they know is, I can hold a bag for a long time.
Yeah.
That's all they know. It wasn't we need to make sure we put everyone in the right position so that they can be okay when we get to the worm, especially that last person. They just happen to have the beastly power to be able to do that, which not everybody had. And you saw, 1, that they didn't have it, and then 2, that they put people in the wrong places. They could probably go back after a week later and be like, oh, you know what? We would totally change our personnel around.
Yeah. Like, hey, me running at the end to get everybody to the bag is not where I need to be.
Right.
I need to hold the bag and then do double unders last so that I can rest or something.
Yeah.
Right? With that change, how do you like that event for the teams?
I like it a lot more because you start watching the races within the race. So you have to see, how hard can these athletes push? I mean, you didn't see people hammering the bike. You didn't see people hammering the run. But they had to have a good clip in each of those because you wanted the bike and the run to get off at about the same time. You wanted the bag and the rope to get off at about the same time. Being able to grab the bag and carry it and hold it up. So I love that there were a lot of extra little strategies that you could watch. And I think it left, especially like for you guys, a lot of opportunity to talk about the different strategies that people were doing. A lot of those strategies were found kind of on the fly by those teams. I think they were kind of thrown into it, not thinking they had a plan A, but really they were doing plan C, because once they got out there, it was really way more shitty than they thought it was going to be. So it gave you guys a lot to talk. So I like it a lot more. I liked it a lot more.
Me too. And I like how robust that bag double up deal is.
And it made that count. It made that really count.
It was it.
Yeah.
And the runner took the longest time, but that bag sucked the life out of you.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Like, no one's going to be that tired off the run. All these athletes can run,
Mm-hmm.
And they're not sprinting in this run. They're just kind of cruising ish,
Right.
But yeah, you're right. That bag's different.
The overall test, like if I'm just looking at the teams competing and what this event is doing to them as a team, I can say like a team test. I'm still saying event. You're testing the team. That was great. Watching it, a bit more challenging. But I mean that's team events as they unfold. So
yeah, I liked it. I thought I liked that twist. I think that was a smart move.
Oh, there goes Bill.
Am I on?
Hey, dude.
Oh, hi. Did I miss all that?
No.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Good. Yeah, I did too. And yes, Chelsea, they had great. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to another portion that we didn't really know until coming into this weekend, and it is the individual event number 1, 3K Echo Bike, hand over hand pull, 2,000 meter assault runner, hand over hand pull, 1,000 meter ski, hand over hand pull to the finish line. 225, 180 were the weights. We didn't know if this is going to be on a sled. Is it combined sled weight plus the weight on the sled? And it turns out it's, an 84-foot hand over hand pull, but it's in 3 different sections. They are pulling a carpet sled. I don't know what that.
Yeah, it's like a canvas,
a canvas sled.
Canvas slide.
445 stacked on top of there for the women, 545 stacked on top of there for the men. And, you get off the bike, 1, 2, 3 pulls, you run your rope out each time. So there was a lot more little elements in play in this hand over hand pull. Now, what it wasn't a dedicated hand over hand only. You could reach forward, pull back. The big rules is that you couldn't step to get an advantage for the pull. So for example, what that could look like is I have one foot in front of the other. I push off my front foot, step it back behind my plant foot and pull. Like that's gaining an advantage. The gray confusing area was feet moving at all. People are slipping all over the place, falling on their butts, things like that. Those incidental foot movements were not called. Things to clear that up, honestly. Because I feel like it was a bit confusing, especially watching the athlete briefing. It was extremely confusing for the athletes to grasp what was good, what was bad, what were the penalties. Would you add anything in there to just clean that up as far as the foot movement rule?
I mean, yeah, I would say the standard is you can't move your feet. Now, what you would have to do, like, how would you fix the penalty on that? I'm not really sure. Because, like, if someone, I think it would be easy to stop someone in the middle, which they now lose momentum on the bag.
Mm-hmm.
They are gaining time on their overall time, and it is stopping. I mean, you can't, I think it'd be a pain to try to pull back 225 pounds, like 8 inches or something like that, if someone like pulled it wrong. Okay. But I think if you just basically say, you can't move your feet. And if you move your feet, we're stopping you.
Okay.
Now, granted, that puts some onus on the judge that they have to make sure that they're watching the feet, which is really, that's all they don't need to watch the bag. They just have to watch the feet. And boom, touch them. Boom, stop. I think that would make it cleaner. When I saw what the bag looked like,
the slide.
The slide
or whatever, the object of which they adhere to.
I thought And there, I mean, there was one that I know of, but I thought that there would be more issues with that thing turning, having to turn it to go back the other way, because it's not like, I don't know why didn't you just have a flat piece of metal? I mean, they have those super cheap, low end. All it is a flat slide with the clip on it, and that way when you're turning it, you know, you don't have to worry about the bag itself like folding on itself or getting like a wrinkle underneath or anything weird like that. So I thought that would be an issue too. Plus, you know, how often I don't know of any CrossFit gym that has those kind of sleds. Any.
No, I've seen them on Rogue's site. I see them.
I mean, they're there.
Look up sleds.
I heard that they use those for like army tests.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they're easier to ship or what. I have no idea.
Lighter and easier to pack. And Jan's idea is, this is what I was thinking, is give them a box. A small box, but feet must stay inside the box. So if you have incremental foot movement, right, not so big that you can hold the sled and walk 2 steps back to pull it, right? But if you stay within this box, anything goes.
Yeah,
I'm big
cool
enough
with that.
to do anything, but like, it's not as hardcore as don't move your feet at all, because some people were getting pulled by the sled more than they were pulling the sled.
Right, right.
That was all over the place, right?
Right.
So,
If you were to make it,
see,
if you went 18 inches deep,
yeah, right.
You're good.
You fall on your butt, your feet stay in the box, you don't touch the edges, and you can get back up. Cool, good for you. Well done. The penalty I would assess is not time dependent. If they slip out of the box, just to make it more exciting, my penalty would be, you have to, if your feet exit the box, you must run to your sled, do a burpee behind it, and then run back to your start mat.
God, you're a jerk. That would take forever.
Nah, don't slip out of the box.
Well, I mean, I agree. I hear you.
I mean, that's like, instead of a 5-second penalty and you're just like, okay, how many penalties do you get? Let's do this. It's like, no, right now. Run and touch your sled and come back, or run and do a burpee. They only say to run and touch your sled because if you're like right at the end, it's like, I'll step out of my box to pull it and I'll just tap my sled. Right? It's like, no, go do a burpee.
What if you just do a burpee right there?
In the spot?
In the spot. You have to do a burpee. You have to do a burpee. Full extension jump. You know, got to clear got to open. Your feet have to come off the ground. That way it's the same no matter where you are across the floor.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason why I say the movement is like, if you get out of your box and it's further down, then you lose more time.
Yeah, you just lost the race is what happened.
Yeah.
Like you didn't lose time. Like you went from first place to like 15th.
But that would be insane, right? It's like if they're racing to the finish and then like someone's foot slips out and they got to go drop the rope, run and touch it. Run and touch the sled and come back, or a burpee at it. Yeah,
they could have done something. I like the idea of the box. I'm cool with that.
Honestly, I don't even know what the penalty is.
I don't think there is one.
I don't know if there's one either.
Guaranteed, because none of them happened and they were feet that moved.
All right. After seeing the sled, rules, weight, what it did to the event overall, how do you like this event after seeing it unfold with all these new details?
I actually liked it when it came out because I loved the sled part of it. I didn't know it was going to look. I didn't know it was going to look like this, but I love the fact that it turned a machine event, and that's all everyone looked at. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the sled. It'll be kind of shitty, but like whatever." It's like, like that. That was the race because everybody could do the other things,
right?
And then it was, do you have the power to get the sled moving and keep it moving somehow so it doesn't anchor itself back down into the ground? I mean, the athletes that could move the sled did great.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle Brandon, I mean, she fucking shredded that thing. Yeah. And then you saw athletes that like you thought they were pulling a car.
Yeah,
you know, and it was interesting because they had to play to their strengths. So the athletes that knew that they were going to struggle on the sled had to go fast on the machines.
Mm-hmm.
The other athletes could just kind of go on the machine because they had to make sure that they can move the sled fast because that's where they were going to make their move.
Right.
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I really liked it.
I liked the fact that it ended up being more weightlifting than everyone expected it to be.
Yeah.
So you had that, you had that Metcon and the weightlifting that was thrown in like that. I thought it was really cool.
I didn't want it to be the burpee pull up of the workout.
Right. Or the shuttle run of the burpee pull up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really count. Yeah. That's what I meant. Sorry. The shuttle run. Or it's like, run sled. It's like, no. The sled make or broke the event.
Yeah. And I love that the athletes said that too. When you guys interviewed the athletes, they all said that.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
And that was, I think, the big worry is like, oh, is this just going to be a machine test, which is fine if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. But I like that. All right. Event 2. The biggest question we had coming in was, okay, the ring complex, how is it set up? Does it have to be unbroken? Do the 20 pistols, what is that going to look like? Is it alternating? Is it 10 and 10? Is it unbroken and start over? Or is it, how's that going to be? Max burpees over box. All right, all that done in 3 minutes. You get max burpees over the box. You get rest 1 minute. You do 3 rounds of this. And okay, things we found out. Ring complex did not have to be unbroken. The 20 pistols were done 5 in each square, advancing, alternating your legs on 5. Had to be done unbroken, or you got a no rep and you just picked up where you left off. You didn't have to start from 0. And then max burpees over box, where burpee box jump overs, can't put your hands down on this. So a lot of unknowns that came into this. And once we basically got all the information, how did you want the complexes to be done?
Unbroken.
Me too.
I mean, I don't think you really gain a lot by breaking them up. So I just think you put them together, because I agree, like with what Corey says here, that like a complex is unbroken. Otherwise, it's not a complex.
In different words, but yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I mean, I think that those are 3 movements that can be done together. Like you already get up on the muscle up, so you're not going to come down and then do the dip.
Right.
What would be the point of doing the toe to ring and then coming off? Like it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to do it. So I think just to make it so there are no questions, I would have just said these complexes are unbroken.
Mm-hmm.
And if you miss a piece, you need to do the whole thing over.
A piece of the single complex.
Like let's say you get no rep on the muscle up.
Mm-hmm.
You now have to do that whole complex over, not just the muscle up.
Oh, okay.
But the whole complex. That was the standard I would have done.
Yeah. I agree. Don't call like this is part of the descriptions mean something and have to. Like it's not a complex if it's not unbroken. It's just
I don't think so. Yeah. Why not go 1 toe to ring, the next line, 1 muscle up, next line, 1 ring, 1 ring dip. Yeah. And then 20 pistols,
Yeah, so I agree there. On the pistols, the 5, now it was like if you got a no rep on your way to 5, so if like your foot came down. So if I did rep 4, good, rep 5, got a no rep, or I lost my balance. At the games, you started over at 0.
Yeah.
Here, okay, you got a no rep on your 5th one, but you can still do the 5th one again.
I think in this situation, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
It's the first time that they've done pistols weighted with like at this level.
Yep.
With this single leg going the whole time on one side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Now I would be expecting that if they had it in the games, since they've done that in the games anyway, it's like, okay, well now you're at the games, so you need to be able to do all these unbroken. And if you don't, then I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I think that would have been.
And then at the end, box jump overs, no hands on the box.
I'm good with that.
Get over. Yeah.
Dude, so the way some of those people moved, they
had no problems.
Emma Lawson,
dude,
she's such a
ran
badass.
Out of room.
She is such a badass.
She is such a badass.
It's awesome. Now
this will go into the analyzing part, but I will still ask the question now, and we can revisit. Or do you want to save it? I was going to ask you a ruck question, or do you want to save that?
What about a something to think about question?
All right, something to think about. Which, when all the semifinals are over, we'll analyze the programming as a whole, just so we can see these things unfold. Something to think about for you guys watching: is the ruck even necessary? And or does the ruck make it a good or a worst event based off the wrinkle?
Oh, my personal opinion would be that the ruck, for the amount of time you're working in 3-minute rounds.
Mm-hmm.
If you would be working in a longer time frame, then I could see the ruck.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you only have 3 minutes, so you want them to move fast. So take it off of them and let them move fast. That's what I think.
That's what I think too.
So
I'll wait for 2 more weeks to give my final thought. But my initial thought after watching event 1 go and watching Linda, I'm looking at this. I'm like, the ruck seems to have added an element that we didn't need.
Yeah.
We've gotten a different test from first glance. The other question is scoring. They're scoring this as only the number of burpee box jump overs that you do in the test, which led to, on the leaderboard, lots of zeros.
Yep.
Because it was 0 burpee box jump overs, not they did 0 reps entirely. And I think the one thing we should have done, I say they should have done, is just count every rep.
All the reps. Because
then it already does. I mean, they're already using the reps you do as your tiebreaker for the zeros. Like, you're already counting them.
Right.
And then
they know the count. They know the count.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense. So you have a buy-in on 3 minutes.
Pistols are 20. You have 25 reps each round. You get scored on that, and then you get bonus reps.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, that's what Africa did, and they weren't supposed to. If you looked at the leaderboard earlier in the
Good
night.
job, Africa.
Like, how did this
Way
person
to
get
go.
112 reps? Because they had 75 added to their score. But yes, I think. Was it really sponsored? Of course, it was sponsored by. I mean, I get it. Torque Tank. Whatever. Is the ruck the torque tank of the no? All right, so a lot to chew on there. Linda was pretty straightforward. I mean, the rep had to start at the top of the. I mean, that was the one thing, is like, we didn't know how the bench press would get scored.
Yeah.
And it was, you have to start extended, and then that's 1 rep. So if you rolled to your chest and pressed out, that was just you getting into position.
Yeah.
I like that because it's not a full rep starting from the bottom. The same thing I don't like.
It's like a wall ball. That's like your wall ball.
Yeah. Seated depth position. I was like, nope, that's not one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. The air squat starts at the top, not the bottom. So that's
I liked that that they were having to put where the dumbbell had to hit, where your hands had to hit on the dumbbell, to where you couldn't, or at least you shouldn't, have the head of the dumbbell come to the armpit, to where you're changing that range of motion that you saw some of the athletes kind of play with. I like that event too. That was awesome.
Yeah.
They made it look way better than the last time they did Linda. Wow.
Oh, you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, because, well, at least the other elements, like the deadlift and the cleans, like those were just a formality, honestly. Which was cool to see. It was fun. That was a good event. I like that event.
Alyssa, you can't do math, but you don't have to agree. But
it's cool to know the number of burpees.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, minus 75 from whatever your score is.
But I guess you would know their score. Well, you still know the burpees on the leaderboard, right? On the leaderboard, that's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number of burpees is all that matters, right? You can't get there without doing the beginning stuff. But on the leaderboard, it would just help to have all the numbers there.
Yeah.
Dumbbell bench, test 4 and test 5 was really one that I was curious of how it was going to go. I really enjoyed it. Like, seeing those last 30 seconds of snatches go up was awesome. Especially if you're there in person, when you can just watch it all unfold instead of having to like follow the camera or whatever it would go if you were there watching from home. but it was just like this slow build up crescendo to the last 15 or 20 seconds. And it's just like boom, 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 boom. People just trying to hit these big lists at the end. I thought it went way better than I had anticipated it going initially.
I still think the run was a complete waste in 4. I loved it in 5. No, because you run 15 seconds faster than someone. You think you're really going to get that much more weight? So no, everyone cruised the run,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just lifted. So fuck it, just let them lift.
Yeah.
Like that. That's all it was. You got nothing for the run. So why even have the run? That is the way they were scoring the event before this with the muscle ups and the complex and the pistols, and then all it counts is the burpees.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one. All they're counting is the weight. So why even do the first part? They don't care.
Yeah.
And it's not long enough where they're really going to be fatigued, I don't think. I love the second part. I love the fact when they had to they had to touch and go the 8 snatches.
Did they had to?
They had to.
Another question was like, can someone do singles? It's like, sure, you can, but you're not going to win.
Right. You know, and you're one of those guys that always says, it's smart to break early. I mean, you talk about that a lot, like being very strategic about not having to go all the way, but this one you had to, and that's what made it so great. So you went from that to an all-out sprint on the air runner. I thought that was cool. I liked that event for what it was. That part. I thought event 4 was just a lift. And then I'm not saying it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. It wasn't. It's always fun to watch people throw weights around. So I mean, like whatever. That's fine. But I liked 5 better than 4. I still wish, because we already had a runner, I wish they would have done something different with the. Could you imagine what that would have looked like if it was either 1, the shuffle runs, or 2, if they would have had some sort of a crit track around?
Yeah.
That would have been way more fun.
There wasn't room for a runaround.
And I get it. I know.
But
you saw what Africa looks like, right?
Yeah.
Been running through locker rooms or something.
True. For the visual stimulated, not being on a runner would be much more enjoyable. 100%. That being said, it was still exciting there just because the anticipation, in a sense, it went great. And, the 8 snatches coming into it were just as, I don't want to say a worthless thing, because like the run wasn't worthless going into the snatch. You could do something to hinder that. It more the same, just shorter. It's like, yep, little flash buy-in, get to the runner as fast as you can, go.
Would it have counted more to you if it was 225?
So that's really where I'll start thinking about more. I think as the weekends go on, I'll probably start leaning in that department. The snatch event was awesome because we saw some big weights thrown up in 2 minutes, which is wild to see. This is okay. What would I rather see? I'll answer this in 2 weeks, but this is where I'm sitting. I'm curious to do more of a reciprocal style test, because going from run to max lift and then reps to run isn't exactly the flip of that.
No, not at all.
A 800-meter run into max snatches at 225 and 155 in 6 minutes. And then
I agree.
The flip side is 5 snatches at 225 and 155, and then you go to the runner. Right? So it's opposite. One's testing your strength under fatigue. The other one is testing your speed under more fatigue. Something that's very similar in comparison.
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, because like the run doesn't count in the first one. So you're right. If you were to say, okay, well, here's a set number you have to do, or an unbroken number.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if it's an unbroken number, then I need to make sure that I have as much time as possible. What do you think about the way they scored it?
100 points each.
Yeah. Do you think that should have been a 50-50?
I think it could have been a 50-50. Yeah.
I agree.
I wouldn't have.
I was thinking that too. I was
Yeah.
thinking that could have been.
If
It'd be
they're
interesting.
both 50-50, I'm like, yeah, that checks.
Yeah.
But part of it was deliberately 100 to make it more impactful. But yeah. Yeah. It's a good question.
It'll be interesting to see, and this will be something for like, I'm talking to you, Mike Halpin, those guys that are out there, and you know,
What have we done?
Tyler Wilkins and those guys, where it's like, okay, what effect would it have had if it was 50-50? What effect would it, you know, if you have one of those events, you know, where you drop them down so they don't count as much, so you don't have the big lifter getting that one big home run event that they were hoping for, and then they could get 6th, 7th, 8th,
Yeah.
15th, 16th, 17th on the other events, kind of a thing.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm with you. Halpin can't do 50-50 with 60.
I'm sure you can math something like that. Come on.
Start getting negative points. That's a good point. Good point.
Give half points. Half points.
Steven's question: does this programming favor a certain type of athlete? We'll get there.
Yeah, that'll be in 2 weeks. That'll
You
be in
guys
2
go
weeks.
to the known and unknowable Instagram page. They did a fun little stat on event 1 for the individuals of the top 10 athletes in the event, body weight, average body weight, and the bottom 10. And there's, I think, a minimum of a 20-pound difference. And the men were more, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go check that out. Let's see. Okay, let's keep going here. We are now looking at event number 6 for the individuals. Things we didn't know, what the pirouettes were going to look like with the handstand and walk, what the seatless legless rope climb standards were going to be. That was really it. And the pirouettes were basically, it was a 25-foot handstand walk section separated in 5-foot increments. The first, third, and fifth section had a pirouette to be done in them. As long as your hands started behind the line, you did your work, and they crossed the line in that 5-foot section, you could come down. So like the old school open style handstand walk, right?
Right.
5-foot lines, cross the line, get past the line, you get counted for that section. You could turn in any direction you wanted. Some people could go the whole way. Some people broke it up. I liked that it wasn't just in one spot. It's like, hey, just do 3 in this square and then move on. I did enjoy the handstand walk. I could see very, very soon that whole section becomes unbroken.
Oh yeah.
I'm okay if they didn't have it here.
I could see that at the games.
But that's coming.
Yeah.
I think that's coming for sure.
100%. 100%. I liked how it was. And I liked the fact that like you could break that if you needed to. I thought it was a great way to present that movement. With it being the first time that these athletes get it, but the skill level was still there. I mean, it was crazy watching some of the women, especially.
Oh man.
There's like down, spinning.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's just like that, huh? Okay. We're just
Mhm.
gonna go like that. But still you could have some athletes that were breaking that up, and it didn't ruin the event because they broke it. It didn't have to come all the way back or anything. So I thought that was really cool. I like that.
Me too. Lito, the pirouettes are pretty much the same for the team as well. They had different advancing sections, and I think they had the same rule, even though they were different. The seated legless, so those standards were, there was a tape line, I don't know, out above your head. Hands must start below the tape line. Feet must come off the ground first. Then you need to pull yourself from the ground. Once you get past the tape line, those feet can drop, basically. Actually, the feet can drop whenever they want.
Yeah.
They just can't touch the ground.
Feet can't touch the ground for the entire rope climb.
They climbed up to another tape line. Your hand must touch at or above the tape line, both hands, and then you had to lower yourself down below the bottom marker clearly with 2 hands in control before you dropped.
Loved it.
It was great.
It was so good, dude.
Was
I was like, okay, we have finally stepped up the rope climb.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Now it's like the up and the down alone was a big deal, but we just turned 15-foot rope climbs into 22-foot rope climbs. You can't jump.
Yeah.
It's a lot more pools. It's those were so good.
It was good.
And man, it nailed some of the athletes.
Did some just
stopped in their tracks.
And then boom.
Mud pit.
Yeah, mud pit. That's good.
Done.
It was great. This whole event was awesome. I know we said this before, and we were interjecting some things. It's like, scrap the rower and put those double cross unders in there.
Sure.
Just make us an entire. And the good thing there is that this makes it an entire skills chipper.
Yep.
Entire skills chipper. You're visually watching someone doing. You don't have to wait for the row. They can advance every 10 reps, just like they advanced other things. Like, you can do these things down and back. It adds the skill we saw from the games. All these athletes should have practiced and can do it relatively easy.
Yeah.
You get just as great of interference from overhead squat to pirouette, from pirouette to overhead squat when you throw those in there. It keeps it monostructural. Like, it's a question I have. Because with the row, it's just like nothing.
Yeah, it was worthless.
Yeah. Which we thought going in.
No, totally. Even with that, this ended up being a cooler event to watch than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it.
I had visions in my head of how I was hoping the rope climb was going to be this way. I had visions of my head of people getting stuck, like
like a lot of people sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, like pegboard style. Because how legless rope climbs are, and just regular ones, is once you hit your mark, once you hit your red zone, that's it. You're sitting there. And you're stuck, and the frustration kicks in and all that. But so I thought there might be an element of that because we've never seen anything like that. And I know it says only 2 and 2, but it's not 2 and 2. That's a lot more legless rope climbs than I think most people give it credit. So it was actually way more fun to watch. Even the 500-meter rows, it was like they were just kind of there. In the race itself, programming different. We'll talk about that later. But like in the race itself, we didn't lose anything by having that. It was almost like okay, you prepped yourself. Now let's see if you're using this as like an active recovery.
Yep.
So
yeah, I really enjoyed it. Sarah's comment, Raptus was a badass on the no rep. Yes, she was. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see it where she like climbed halfway down and they're like no rep, and so she just went right back up?
Yes.
I was like, okay.
It's like, damn. All right.
Yeah, that was awesome. But yeah, I really like this. It caused a lot of problems in a way of not caused a lot of problems. It challenged a lot of people in the best way. You had to be dialed in, and if not, down you go.
Dude, I like the idea of the skills chipper. Like, that's pretty dang cool. Like, I don't think we've really.
No.
I don't think we've talked about skills that are in different events that we've analyzed or whatever, but not like a specific title of a skills chipper, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's good.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. That was really the only piece of information we didn't really have left. But you can see is how much, when we keep saying, it's like how much these little details are going to massively change the way we do things. Right? If it was a torque tank instead of a carpet sled, it changes everything. If it's hands on the box in event 2, changes everything. If the complex has to be unbroken, it changes everything. And the details being so important and unknown going in, now that we know them, they all had, I think, significant impacts in these events.
Well, there's going to be a significant improvement for the athletes in this next weekend over these athletes that just went. So even that wrinkle alone of not getting the information ahead of time and having to figure, like, you have 1/3 of the group that has to figure out their strategies and what they need to do on the fly because they don't know what it's going to be. Everybody else knows. I still don't understand the purpose of that. But that in itself is going to make it. That's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Everybody now has some sort of cloth sled that they're going to be pulling on. Everybody made something. Everyone now is making sure that they can do legless rope climbs all the way up and all the way down. Everyone's playing with the ruck, whether they have one or they're putting a backpack with some clothes in it. You know, everyone is now going through all the pieces to be sure that they know how to do all the pieces.
Yeah.
And these guys didn't get that.
No, and that's what will be exciting watching next weekend. Is we have the North America West, South America, and Oceania going.
Yeah.
And they'll all be at different time frames, so we'll have a lot of coverage to enjoy. See how different athletes attack the events. Caden, are they going to be doing event records and talking about it on the broadcast? Yes, but unfortunately for your ears, they'll be called test records. Which I told Sean, I was like, enjoy saying that on the broadcast. Oh, yeah. Before we pop off here, shout out to Ken at Sherpa Works. Our new merch for the OG culture just dropped, and I love these.
Those are so good.
Our Just Show Up shirts for semifinals. Beautiful.
Get it, Pukey. Get it.
If you guys were in Orlando, we had a tent there. Dude, it was so great. Like the whole backdrop that Ken put together.
It was so sick.
It was so sick.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to get out to Pasadena.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in California, they're trying to do that. He wants to ship stuff out to Berlin too.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Dang.
So it was cool. It was cool to have a bunch of people out there. It was cool to watch people get in the gear. I think it's just one more step forward to bringing the OG Culture brand to life. If they're in Pasadena, go check them out. It was great, and it's just it. I mean, that nails it. I think Chad created that idea.
Really?
Yeah,
it was a good one.
And that nails it, right? That's what we do. That's what we did this weekend. Showed up, did the best we could with what we had. Community showing up in spades. Like the crowd was awesome.
Dude, the crowd was awesome.
The crowd was awesome.
I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. After seeing some of the semis like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was worried.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool seeing some of the stories and some of the things you put out, even like the videos you put on like our text thread of just all the crowd. It was like, damn, like and I think maybe that was the OG feel. Like we could feel that as we're watching. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like we're hearing everybody talk, oh, this what's happening, that's going on. It's all empty stands in the background.
Yeah.
Or they push all 15 people together to make it look like there's a crowd.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, it was really cool. Thank you, Chelsea. Let's see. I had one question. Renata, is there a reason why they're called tests? Yes. They would like to call the events an event. So like North America East is an event. What they're doing there on site are called tests. That's what they want. Keep some consistency from open to quarterfinals to semifinals across the games. Even though the leaderboard for semifinals
says workouts. Well, so let me ask you this. Since these are all tests and you get to the CrossFit Games, which is the competition, are those also going to be tests?
I don't know.
Is it going to be the test champion?
But
the world's test champion. Yeah. Not to be confused with the chess champion.
See, I mean, like, come on, guys.
It's you know, there was this word a long time ago in lore called virtuosity. Doing the common uncommonly well.
Yeah. Who knew? But yeah, look, I enjoyed it in person. I will tell anybody, if you are in the area and you can go to any semifinal this weekend, whether it's South America, Australia, or California, go. It was awesome. go, because the more of you there, the more fun it's going to be for everybody, including yourself. It was so great. Like, as fun as it is to watch online, if you can't be there, if you can, don't be like, oh, I can watch it. Like, go for a day. Go for a day. And what's a great day? Friday was a great day. Saturday, they're all great days. Sunday was awesome. The chipper thing was intense. The last sprint to the finale was intense. It was great.
That last sprint was intense, dude.
Yeah, that last sprint was great.
Wow.
I had, it was, yeah. So if you guys can go. If you guys can go. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. All right. Bill and I will sign off here. We will analyze the programming after all the semifinals are done. That's when we'll analyze the programming. And then we will pre-program.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll analyze the programming after 3 weeks. We'll follow that up with a reprogramming, because we do have some ideas that won't drastically change the tests themselves. Sorry, I've been saying test for 4 days.
Dude, this is the best right here, man. Dude, Caden's killing it right now.
Matt Fraser's 31 test wins sounds like school. You're right. You're right.
Test wins.
Test wins. Yeah. Not wrong. I just do what I'm told when I'm supposed to be doing what I'm told. Other than that. Yes, events. Come on.
That's
All
funny.
grown-ups here. It's an event. It's so weird. But hey, pick my battles. Pick my battles. All right. After that, hey, you guys watch. Things will kick off on Thursday at the North America West. The other semifinals will start on Friday. I guess, I don't know, is Australia ahead of us? So they might start Thursday night.
Yes.
Might be the case, I believe. Yeah, Thursday night, because it'll be Friday morning for them.
Mm-hmm.
So just a lot of coverage, wall to wall. So if you guys can't show up in person, show up online. And for all of you guys that came and watched the podcast bootleg coverage and your support, thank you. For those of you guys that are in the chat, being a positive force of information, also thank you. That is very rare. So the uneducated that were coming in is like, this broadcast is the worst broadcast we've ever seen, and this is terrible. It's like, you're right. This is also not a broadcast. This is a miracle. For those of you guys that were in there defending it, that was really cool. That is a rare thing on social media these days. Usually you say nothing, or you just shit on everybody for the next 6 hours of coverage. But you guys were awesome. One more shout out: Wex, Brian Friend, Mike Halpin, Adrian Conway, and CrossFit for greenlighting it. I don't want to forget that. They had to sign off on it. They had to come to us with the let's try it, and props to them for giving us an opportunity to do something. So, and last but not least, happy belated birthday, Bill.
Thanks, dude.
Happy belated birthday. All right, y'all, safe travels. Those who are traveling. Billy, happy birthday to your two baby girls.
Yeah. Two birthdays tomorrow.
All right. Y'all take care. Good luck.